XP?
Oh, you need 1 more XP and you'll be able to level up.
Okay.
You need your current level plus 7.
Oh, and I still needed to create a bond with you. I hadn't thought of that one.
Oh, and I do have that barbarian special move, Josh. My racial move, the outsider. At the beginning of each session, the GM will ask me a question. If I answer it, I mark an XP.
Oh, I forgot about that. Is Tina's intention, or I guess that's not much about Tina.
It can be, I can interpret it through the tribal background or something.
Is there an expectation from your tribe that you're out on a sort of a vision quest for a journey and you're returning, or are you gone? As a coming of age, do people leave and do their own thing and never come back, or is this like a walkabout where you'll rejoin the tribe in some new position of power?
Yeah, I think in the tribe there is the expectation that each person would make their own mark of greatness in the world, and some of them may leave to do that and come back with treasures. For Tina, I think we've never gotten a straight story out of her. She appears to have at some point identified herself as a leader of a people. At some point, she's clearly mentioned being a slave. And I think anyone who is a little bit empathic and pays attention to her understands that she doesn't really intend to get home. Maybe she's even sometimes a little bit melancholic about it. She wishes she could go home, but there's nothing there for her, so there's definitely not people waiting to see her come back victorious.
Got it.
Yeah, I think that's where she is.
Okay.
Having answered that, I mark an XP. Ha!
Okay. And if I remember right, when we left off, the two of you had sort of captured and were talking to this golem, and he was essentially lost and trying to find his way home. Seemed confused, and basically agreed to flip on his goblin friends and just said, "Yeah, I'll help you find him. Whatever I need for you guys to help me get home." Whether you follow through on that is up to you guys, but that's my recollection of where we left off. It was he had offered to help you find goblins to sort of plunder.
Yeah.
Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, and I think we kind of led him on to believe it wasn't just we'll leave him alive. We'll help him. He can come with us, and we'll at least help him toward his goal.
Mm-hmm.
He just helps with the goblins first. I don't know that at least that Jessica and I felt a long-term commitment to helping him.
Right.
But we could have let him believe that. Yeah.
Right. That's why I said whether you intend to follow through with that or not wasn't. We didn't tread on that. But it seemed like we might do some goblin hunting with him. And whether he seems trustworthy to the two of you is another story as well.
And I'd look toward Tina as we're standing over Grundy the Golem, confused about his question about talents. And I'd look to Tina. And
I think you are Tina.
Yeah, Jenka. I'm sorry. I look in a mirror. You're so cool.
Selfie.
Look at Jenka. Yeah. Are you up to stomping on some more goblins? Are you? And I kind of look to see if you're cut up or frazzled, or if your little magic doodads are all spitting sparks and smoke and unable to function until you repair them.
No, I'm totally ready to kill some of these guys.
I like how, despite my fairly progressive outlook on the world, like when it comes to a role playing game, like just genocide is other goblins. Like no,
Right.
it's like stomping cockroaches.
Right. They're not like me.
No.
We're gonna build a wall and make the goblins pay. All right. In terms of level up moves, does that just happen like when you all take a rest, or is there a?
So there's a under the special moves on the back of the basic moves. There's the advanced moves or special moves. Level up is one of them, and the way it reads. Do you want me to post it into the Roll20?
I can look in the. I had some other windows open because I was looking at some other stuff, but
it's on the bottom left column of level up of special moves.
Special moves.
Oh, and yeah, I think I have them all linked in Roll20 also.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Come on, grow. There we go. Okay, so when you have downtime.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, if it's up to you guys when you want to do that. I mean, if you're at a point where you're not in danger, it's I guess an open question as to whether you need to like beat the bush to get these guys to like chase these people down, or whether how you want to approach them. But if you wanted to try to do a level up move now, you could, or if you want to wait like till you get back to town or whatever else, you can do that too.
Does Jinka need to prepare spells again, or do you still have your spells and not have any -1s forward and all that?
I don't remember where was that in reference to spell work.
I need to go back to GM. If you open your character sheet, there might be a -1 forward or something. -1 ongoing. Clicked underneath your class wizard.
Oh, it's just normal.
Okay. So you probably haven't. Because sometimes when you cast a spell, one of the options you can lose the spell. Another one is you take -1 ongoing until you stop to prepare spells again. So I was kind of seeing if you had that on you, but it doesn't sound like you do. I mechanically I'm at 22 out of 24 hit points. I kind of look down. I've got some scars. I don't know if they were throwing javelins at us or what it was, but I've got some like lightly bleeding wounds. I'm just gonna wipe a palm across one. I can keep going. Look to our little Axeman. I think he got one kill, right?
He did.
Yeah. So I'm gonna look at his bloody axe and I'm gonna grin at him and say, let's get us some more.
He looks at his axe and with almost like a moment of recognition, like, oh yeah. I don't know if you guys remember, but he's not the brightest crayon in the box.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a dullard.
Oh, well. Sorry, didn't mean to make a move. Just trying to look at my spell book and I forgot how to do it.
They're probably on your character sheet under the sub.
Yeah.
Braxton, that was the guy's name.
Okay, I knew it started with a B because I put him on there as Barrett, but Braxton is right.
On my character sheet, Josh, under sub, under notes, I took a few minor little notes. The town we were at was Widow's Rest.
I remember that.
Braxton, Clara was the kind of innkeeper /
boss lady.
Yeah.
Boss of some kind. It wasn't really made clear.
So Jessica, what are your thoughts? What do you want to do? Do you want to hunt them down or do you want to rest up?
No, let's go ahead and hunt them down.
Cool. Well, you were in kind of not dense forest. I mean, I think we talked a reference that Andy and I will get that we'll try to explain to you, but it's sort of like Midwestern, northern Indiana forest where it's like easily traversed. Trees are 3 to 5 feet apart, so you can walk or travel without problem. It's not like you need to hack your way through underbrush. It's a sunny day. It's still, early in the afternoon. No trouble traveling. You know which direction. I think there was one goblin that escaped. You know which direction that one went. And you have a golem with you. Who knows them? Presumably, unless he's bullshitting you.
Mm-hmm.
I looked Jenka. I can tell from the brush that it went that way. After that, can you find it? Can you use your little gadgets and find it? And I look down at Braxton, or do you track deer, anything like that?
Yeah, I remember that I can vaguely do that with the was it detect magic?
Detect magic helped you find the golem, I think, not the goblins.
Oh yeah,
The little grundy dude that we got.
This could be an opportunity where we're undertaking a perilous journey. So
what you gonna do, Jessica?
Sure.
Kind of traipse through the woods, hope we run into him.
Yeah.
The golem kind of looks in the direction that you pointed, and he's like, "Well, of course they went that way. We saw them go that way, right?"
Do you guys have a camp around here, or what? Where have you been? Because you've been here for a few days, right? Like, you weren't making progress in your journey. So, where were you holed up?
A couple of camps near here. There's 3 camps near here, in sort of different directions. He sort of all of the directions are sort of vaguely in the direction where the one escapee went, but he sort of points at 45-degree angles, like one here, one here, one here. We're making progress. We just stopped here so they could get food and supplies from the town. And then we're going to move on. I don't know what direction we are going at. I don't know where I am. I just want somebody to help me find my way back to Rugna. This doesn't seem familiar. The plants are weird here. They don't provide any food or any drink. They're just sitting there, which is kind of scary. Shouldn't they be? I don't know. None of this is right.
So, how many people are a part of the camp in that way, and that way, and that way?
I was mostly at the middle camp because that's where the chief is, and he wants to be within communication of the other 2 camps, so he wanted to be in the middle, which made sense to me. So at the chief's camp, it was the chief and 8 others. I vaguely know that the other camps were a bit smaller, more scouting groups, but they had more wargs than we did at the middle camp because they were scouting groups. Are you just looking to exterminate these people or whatever, mongrels? Or do you want to get them to leave? Or do you want to steal all their shit? What do you want? Because if you get me home, I'll make it happen.
I think I'm looking at Tina, but at the same token, kind of counting the amount of coins that we could possibly get from getting rid of all these people, and contemplating what would be the right answer to tell them. Obviously, if I say that my first and foremost priority is money, he might not be interested in helping us too much, especially because it might prevent him from getting back home.
I think you mentioned that there's a chieftain. And I think when you're taking on a horde, if I know anything, it's the first thing you do is you cut off its head, you break its back. Other analogies that fit killing the chieftain quickly. Once he's out of the way, everything else should kind of be ours. But we don't want him. We don't want him out there plotting and scheming against whatever we come up with.
Yeah.
I think we go that way first.
All right. Yeah, I mean, if you want some scratch, that's where the good stuff is too. I mean, looking at you guys, you don't seem like you're really. Yeah, well, I won't say it.
I think Tina gets really kind of lower.
You seem like you're into the more humble things. Am I right?
One of Tina's drives is riches and property.
I know that.
She clearly doesn't have much right now. And so as Grundy says that, she kind of grits her teeth and smiles at him and says, why don't you take us to the chief?
All right, well, watch where you put your fat feet, because there's traps around.
So are we letting him lead, or are we like carrying him and he's just telling us like 5 more steps that way? Or
well, he's about 6 inches tall. So, and I don't know if I explained that when I just maybe took for granted that we kind of knew what he looked like because he's from a book that maybe you haven't read. But yeah, he's like a little guy. So if you were to just sort of follow him, the trek will take a long time.
yeah.
The goblins had him in that little contraption. We could probably just carry him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be happy to carry him. Let me look at Tina again real quick.
Yeah, I remember that your drive, one of them was riches. Where are your drives?
They're under the Herculean Aptates move.
That's right.
Trying to think of I don't have any armor on, so I probably just have some straps and things. I'll fashion a little sling that he can kind of hang in there and let him kind of crawl around my body as he needs.
It's like a little baby Bjorn.
Yeah. So that'll let us walk kind of quickly here, and then I'll advise Braxton just kind of. He said there's traps. Just step in my footsteps. I'll see anything before it hits us.
Okay. He's sort of picking at one of his. I mean, he has the slightly longer canine teeth. He sort of picks at it. Yep. Okay. I'll follow where you go. Yep.
All right. So, Jessica, how do you want to go at this? Do you want to? I think Tina probably looks to you at most points where there's like a decision to be made, but as a player, that doesn't mean it has to fall on your shoulders. Like we talk about it outside of being the characters. Would Tina step forward and actually like lead us, or
I think the last time that we walked into a trap, I was the one that was crazy and just kind of ran off without really much thought to any of my moves or actions. I think probably Tina's a lot more level-headed and more methodical about how she goes about her processes. So I think Tina would probably take lead, and then I would just follow suit.
Okay, so if you want to sort of have Grundy, if you trust him and want to have him sort of instruct you on the best way to go, he's offered to do that. Or if you want to roll on the perilous journey move and sort of see how things work out that way, that works as well.
I'd say let's let Grundy lead us, but I'm gonna insist that he stay by me and like not be shouting and chatting, which maybe will piss him off a little bit. Just kind of quietly guide me in the right directions. And we have maybe a montage of a very kind of slow march through the forest, with me at the lead, Braxton at the tail end.
Okay. So you let Grundy kind of instruct you on where to go, and he's sort of in the little sling and just kind of leaning back, bearing his weight on you, which is nothing. But he's making himself comfortable and making himself familiar. He's not shy. Mm-hmm. And you work your way through the forest. It's about a good 90-minute journey before and he's every 5 or so minutes, like, okay, veer this way, veer back this way. Seems to be familiar with the route, though. You're hearing normal sort of forest noise, insects, birds, critters in the trees. Braxton seems to be easily distracted by whatever rustling you'll hear in a bush of a squirrel or whatever. He's like, ooh, ooh. He's not a focused guy. And after about 90 minutes, things get quieter. And Grundy puts his hand up for you to hold. I think we're getting close. Yeah, things might get a little dicey here soon. So I know there's traps. I've seen the kind of traps that they do. I wasn't worried about getting caught in the traps, though, so I don't really pay that close of attention to where they are. But they are, and we're probably getting kind of close to them. But that's what you guys do, right? I mean, it's, you're big and strong folks. Do big, strong people things.
These traps, were they little pits where you'd step on a poisonous stick, or would they shoot little darts at you out from behind a tree, or?
These guys are a little more sophisticated than that. I mean, you saw how they attacked your caravan. I saw how they attacked your caravan, right? So, they're a little more mechanical than that, I guess.
No, I kind of thought you taught them all that shit. You're saying this chief is actually a smart fellow?
That's part of their culture.
Oh.
These ones, at least, I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I'm a translator.
Hey, Braxton, you got any family back home?
Yeah. I got my brother.
Brother? All right. I'm going to turn around and just kind of the camera catches me just kind of speaking a eulogy for Braxton. I'm kind of framing what I'm going to say about how heroically he died while I'm picturing. And look at Tina, or look, I keep calling you Tina. I'm Tina. I look at Jenka and say, maybe some of these contraptions they've developed or something you could play with.
Is there any way that maybe I can see if I can activate a trap, like just to see what type of, like maybe if there's a trap close by, because we're getting closer and closer to that area.
It sounds like maybe you'd want to do like a discern realities move to see if you can spot anything nearby, or maybe we could do defy danger if you're like looking for a trap to trip. We could do I think either of those moves could potentially fit the bill for locating and or safely tripping a trap.
Okay.
I think depending on how you want to tackle it.
I think I'll go ahead and I'll do a defy danger. My idea is just to see how the traps are activated and if there's any like my type of magic that might be mixed with it, so we can see if there's um,
As a suggestion, like I like to defy danger using intelligence to find the trap that's setting it off, and then maybe cast your cantrip of Unseen Servant, which gives
okay.
you like a little spirit that like you get like, okay, or we back up like 20 feet and have the Unseen Spirit go up there and like push the button or like trip the tripwire and see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we'll do.
Yeah. So go ahead and roll a defy danger intelligence.
Nine.
As she's going about it, I think I would also try and help her.
Okay.
Having seen the roll as a 9, I know that if I can give her a +1, it would push her over. So I think I'm kind of coming up beside her and just describing probably a long narrative of. I remember the tribe of the tiger folk. They used to, and I described like a punji trap, and I'm describing all these different traps that I've seen that mostly is distracting her. But maybe like in the scene, if I'm successful, I land upon like the right thing to inspire her.
Sure.
So I'm going to roll another. I have 2 bonds with Jenka, so it's +2.
Nice.
I'm able to aid her and give her a +1.
Great. So
I should have done this. There's an option for aid another, and I would have done it with +con. All right, never mind.
Well, either way, you succeeded with the. But we know for next time. So as you're sort of really carefully looking through the brush, looking up at trees, kind of trying not to really touch anything, or not disturb anything, but you want to manipulate things and look and see what you see. Just as Tina's describing the traps of the tiger people and how they're punji sticks and they're on the ground, you sort of look down to where Tina's gesturing just reflexively, and you see it just glimmers in the sunlight as you look. It's almost like a little thread, a little piece of wire stretching across between a tree and a stump, and it's maybe, I don't know, 6 feet in front of you. A metallic wire. I mean, it glimmers in the sunlight. You didn't trip it, but you saw it.
Right. Okay. So to try to trip it with an unseen servant, would I have to roll to cast a spell, or?
I think you still need to do that with a cantrip, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it could go horribly wrong.
All right. So cast a spell.
Nice.
10.
Nice.
And then with my cantrip.
So I'm trying to kind of bounce between character sheets and rules. Where's the cantrip? Unseen Servant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you can carry things. It can do nothing but carry items.
I think put like a cloak on him so you can see where the cloak gets hit. And then just march him across that thing. Would that work?
Give it a try.
Okay, so how would I do that?
You successfully cast an Unseen Servant, so it kind of pops up into existence beside you.
Mm-hmm.
You pretty much know where it is because you can hand it things and interact with it, but it's invisible.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna just kind of take the cloak off my own shoulders.
Oh, wait. I remember this now. So to create my unseen servant, I actually do it with like either a shoe or a glove. So once the glove comes off, it changes into like a servant. So it actually kind of forms a little bit like the skeletal system on top of with the glove still intact. And yeah, I can throw my cloak on it, and so we'll actually get to see how it kind of moves as it gets hit. So I'll go ahead
Cool.
and I'll do that and have it march onto the little string, little wire.
Okay.
So I think again, as you drape the cloak over its shoulders and prepare to send it forward, I'm just going to lean in from kind of off the camera shot and whisper like, does that thing have a name? Do we need to say anything right now?
No, it doesn't need a eulogy just yet.
All right.
So when you drape the cloak over your unseen servant, does it have any sort of specific form? Does it just look like Halloween Ghost, where it's like a sheet that's kind of like, ooh, just, or is it shaped like a man, a woman, a grizzly bear, a big square? Like, what is it? What's your unseen servant look like? I know it's invisible, but as it displaces the cloak.
No, I think it's gonna have a similar shape to like a man.
Okay.
Someone that's a little bit taller than me.
Cool. So yeah, you throw the cloak over, and it's sort of the slightly broader shoulders, and it floats forward, low enough that the cloak crosses through the wire, and it looks like it's made of metal, but once the cloak passes through it, it very easily snaps, and you hear a noise from above, almost like the noise when if you're fishing and you catch a fish and it just like takes off with your line, that kind of squeal of the line against the reel.
Mm-hmm.
You hear that kind of noise, like a whoosh, like a whir, from above at the top of the tree that this tripwire was hooked to. And as you look up, there's a thick, heavy, barbed chain swinging down around the tree, just with a heavy, heavy hook at the end of it. And it just winds its way down the tree to the bottom and swipes through the cloak, throws it. Actually, maybe it even kind of pierces through the cloak and swings it around the tree the last 2 revolutions, and then boom, it slaps into the side of the tree with this hook.
All right, start the eulogy then.
Tiger people traps didn't work like that. Shit.
And it started a good 35, 40 feet up, and so it wrapped around this tree 25 times maybe before it reached the base, just tearing through the bark of the tree.
So I'm holding up like thick branches, trying to think like, okay, if I stuck this in the path, that chain and hook could still swing around and hit me in the head, and trying to devise like a way to make like a shield, because I think like with the reaction, the timing, and in Tina's head, all the traps will be just like this one now. And so I'm figuring out they might have other plans, right? So I'm just trying to think of like how to build a rigid enough shield to survive that hook swinging at me if I got that little bit of a warning.
Something to keep in mind too, it wasn't a quiet trap.
Oh yeah, so the things in the area would have possibly keyed in.
They could have. I mean, on a 10 plus, I'm not going to screw. It didn't put you in a bad position in that way. But whether that would occur to your characters or not, it was. It didn't whistle silently through the wind and surprise you when it hit the bottom of the tree. I mean, it made a noise.
Yeah. Is that something Jink is gonna chase down?
I'm debating whether to. Maybe we should just continue forth in the trees.
So how about we find another one of these We set it off, and I give a great big yell to try and draw them out to come and see it. And I'm laying there, wrapped up in the chain, and they come out thinking I'm caught, and you're hiding with Braxton in the bush. And then we spring a trap right back at them.
How about we get Braxton stuck in the trap?
And Braxton's just standing back there with this dumb look on his face. Yeah, I kind of like that better.
Oh. You want me in a trap?
Mm-hmm.
So, do we want to do this one or do we want to find another one?
I don't think the trap resets. I think we would have to find another one, but at least we know how it kind of goes.
I don't want to get hit. I don't want to get hit with a hook.
Nobody. No. Nobody wants to get hit with a hook.
You're not gonna get hit with a hook.
We're gonna let the hook just lay on the ground. We're gonna not get hit with a hook, but we're gonna make it look like you got hit with a hook. You ever see the playing troop that comes through towns?
No, that's for kids and girls. I don't like that stuff.
Hey, I got it. Follow me. I start kind of scouting. Instead of banging at the ground with a stick, which was my inclination to find a trap, I'm actually kind of like probably crouched down, and I'll like go forward like 10 feet and just carefully survey the scene. And probably being overly dramatic, and I'm not really necessarily good at it, but that's my method. Unless Jake has something better.
Just gonna do the same thing that I did earlier. Just
now, one of the things that I would get is an option if I level up. A barbarian can choose a move from thief, warrior, or bard as a multi-class, and there is a really good thief move specifically for like finding traps and stuff. If we took a rest, Jessica, and if traps were a thing that Josh like wanted to have like in the game pretty prominently, I would pick trap expert from the thief move.
Well,
if we don't rest, I can do it.
If you pick it, then it will incorporate it into the game. Like I'm not gonna,
But there's other stuff I want to take also that like depending on what we pick as we level up, that's going to shape the game. So there's other, good fighter stuff, good bard stuff, good barbarian stuff. Since traps are right here, what are your thoughts on that, Jess? Take a little break in the action and just kind of plan, and I'll level up while we do that. Or do you want to march into it?
And I don't know if this would affect your decision at all, but from a mechanical standpoint, you sort of know what one of their types of trap looks like. They may have more, or this may be it. But if you were looking for this type of trap, you kind of know what you're looking for. So if you needed to make a roll, I think it would be reasonable to have some sort of like a +1 forward on searching for that type of trap.
Yeah, I wouldn't do more than +1.
No, right. But I mean, you spotted this, and you like, if you were looking for this type of thing again, you could be careful, and you could have an advantage in looking for them. I don't know if that makes it less desirable to take that move or not.
And I think if we do that and we fail the roll anyway, then it just was a different kind of trap. Like,
yep,
you can rewrite the reality as it springs. So Jessica, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so if we set camp, I can set up an alarm to alert us if any creatures are coming our way. Or what I kind of thought would be interesting would be to use the prestigious illusions, which is a cantrip.
To do what?
It allows me to kind of manipulate or make cosmetic changes, minor magic tricks. Clean it, soil it, cool it, warm it, flavor it, or change its color. But I don't know how I could change that with one of the traps.
So I think if we were going to do the trap where like we spring the trap and then we have Braxton lay down inside of it, you could use that to make him look like a bloody mess without him actually being injured.
Oh.
And then that might help like lure them out there thinking, oh, he's caught. We don't need to be cautious coming out here and we're laying in wait. That might be a use of prestidigitation.
That might be a good idea.
But is that what we're going to push on right now? We kind of want to get to that scene?
Yeah, I think we should do that.
Okay. Yeah, let's keep searching on. I'll kind of defer then. I think since Janka saw the last trap, I'll just support you in what you're doing.
Okay.
Let you try and find it.
Okay.
So you're looking. I'm sorry. You're looking for more traps then?
Yeah. So
go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, go ahead and do another defy danger intelligence, but give yourself a +1.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So
that wasn't including the +1. So yeah.
Yeah.
You smarted the shit out of that, babe.
So you spot another tripwire about 35, 40 feet forward, slightly to the right. But I mean, it's, you know what you're looking for. You spot it a good 10 feet away. And again, it's maybe about knee height, thin metallic wire stretched across between two trees. And if you look up, you can sort of see the coiled up chain sort of slightly swinging in the breeze about 40 feet up. Big gnarly hook on the end of it.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and tap Tina on the shoulder and point up to where the hook is so that she can see what I see. And I'm going to ask, do you want to jump into the trees and try to unlatch it before tripping the wire on the ground? And that way we can replicate it? Or do you just want to trip it like previously? And I guess once it's been activated, we'll just throw Brax in front of the ropes, and I can go ahead and illusion the fact that he is wrapped with the chain and bloodied up and bruised.
Why don't you bloody him all up? You guys stand back there, and I'll point to where I think is roughly a safe distance back, and I'll spring the trap.
Okay. So cast
They're out of the. Oh, go ahead.
So then I'd cast a spell for the cantrip, right?
If you want to use your unseen servant to trip it again, or if you want to have Tina trip it, you would.
I'm gonna trip it, but I think she's gonna do a prestidigitation to make
got it.
Look all bloody before we trip it.
Sure.
Okay, well that's a 10. And then
how do you trigger that spell? I'm picturing like a makeup kit since this is like theatrical makeup.
Oh yeah. Hold on.
Or like a holographic projector that you shine it on him, and then the holograph just stays.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I think it's gonna be maybe like a brooch that I carry on my lapel. I'm gonna take it off and put it on Braxton's clothes. And he's gonna kind of look at it kind of awkward because it's really effeminate.
Mm-hmm.
He's not gonna like wearing it, but it probably has like a couple of little buttons on it, or no, not buttons, gears. So I twist and rotate the gears in a certain direction, and as I do that, you'll see his appearance kind of change.
Yeah, and sort of reflexively as you put it on him, he's like, oh, he's like starts to reach to take it off. And then as you start to sort of fiddle with it, he looks and he sees that he's, sees the changes that are taking place. What do you make him look like? Just that he's covered in blood, or?
Yeah, so I'm going to make it look like his shirt is ripped in certain locations with some blood coming out of it. Maybe a bloody nose, some black eyes. I think that's pretty much it.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, on close inspection, like this isn't a really sophisticated illusion. So on close inspection, if somebody really stopped to look, they'd be able to see that it's an illusion. But on a quick look, if somebody's approaching and sizing up something fast, it's definitely enough to kind of fool somebody on a cursory look. So he looks great. He's ready for the plan. Tina, how are you going to trip the tripwire?
I'm walking around finding a sufficiently kind of big, long stick that I can hurl from a good distance and hit it. And it probably will take me a few tries, but I'm just going to kind of try and do that instead of getting too sophisticated with a trick shot.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and just do I don't think we need to do defy danger necessarily, because you're not doing. You're being pretty safe about it. What do you think? Should we just do like a general dex roll?
No, I would consider defy danger if I think I'm being safe, but there's like an unforeseen danger, or it's interesting.
Sure.
If it's something that I could just succeed at, don't even call for a roll. But if it's interesting that like, oh, I could fail, or maybe I'm throwing branches at the thing and I keep missing, but the noise attracts attention before I spring the trap.
Sure.
Like that might be why it's interesting, right?
Okay. Yeah, then let's go ahead and do a defy danger dex.
But yeah, I would never just call for a straight like, well, let's just check a stat. In Dungeon World, like tie it to a move or it just happens.
Sure.
And so yeah, I will kind of go and break off a log and hurl it. Kind of look over appreciatively at Braxton, like, man, you look like you got fucked up pretty good. That's good. And then hurl the first log, and then come back around. Let's see, how do I do this? Wait a minute. There it goes. Here we go. A 9. So I get a worst outcome, a hard bargain, or ugly choice.
I wonder if there's a way that I can aid.
Yeah.
And assist.
Well, you're tied up with Braxton, and I definitely am at that threshold where it's not a bad idea for you to try and aid me. But this also gives Josh a chance to kind of get some input in there and make us make a hard choice. And it's not necessarily always desirable to flinch away from 7s and 9s.
Okay, then I'll just let you die.
Yeah, it might be what happens.
Okay. So as you go to throw the log, it's a little warmer than you're used to, and your hands are a little bit sweaty, and it starts to slip, and you know that it's not on target, and it's a big log. It's going to make a big crash and commotion when it hits the ground over there. So if you sort of lean into it and give it a push, you think that you'll be on target, but you also aren't sure if you'll be out of the path. You're moving towards the path of this hook if you push forward. Does that make sense? So like you can kind of lean into the push and make sure that you trip the trap, but you might be in the path of it if you do that.
And it wouldn't be a decision that Tina makes so much as a reflexive, like, oh, I just missed that throw, and I would lean into it, like, yeah, let's get back on target. And maybe the eyes go wide as I realize, oh shit. Yeah, that's what I do.
Okay, so you lean into it and you kind of stumble a step or two forward, too close to this, and you see the log. It's almost, you see it in slow motion. The kind of the log tumbles forward, trips the trap, and you hear the noise. You hear the bzzz as you're sort of stumbling forward. So do you do anything to try to minimize damage, to try to save yourself, or are you?
So I had the idea of like fashioning a shield out of a log or something, and we'd abandoned that as we walked out here. But I think now, like as I hear that, and we had time to survey where the chain is coming from.
Yep.
I think what I would try and do is like in one motion, like draw my sword out from over my back and stab it like a foot into the ground. It's a big two-handed sword, and just kind of crouch behind it.
Okay.
And hopefully the hook smacks the shit out of my sword and not me.
So that sounds like we would be calling for another roll.
I'm thinking a defy danger strength.
Yeah, I was thinking strength or con. I mean, you could be powering through, or you could be trying to endure the impact.
Actually, probably more like a con. Like it's gonna hit the shit out of my sword, and I'm just gonna try and like take the brunt of it without getting cut up. So yeah, let me do that. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably a loud ringing noise, and I'm gonna shout out first, starting, "Oh fuck!" and then like look to Braxton, like start waving him over, like, "Oh, it got me! I'm dying!" Just trying to scream to get like the goblins here. Braxton, lay down here.
Oh, are you okay? You're dying.
God damn it! Get over here! I said, follow me.
He kind of lumbers over, and he's kind of crouches down next to you.
And just kind of like lay the chain on him. He looks all bloody, and then like scurry to hide. Like look to, I don't know if I can see where Jenka hid. I'll try and hide in a different place.
Okay.
And just I'll whisper like, now start screaming like your guts are ripped out. To Braxton.
Oh, my guts are ripped out. Oh.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like laying on the ground, and he's sort of draped the thing over him, but he looks pretty awkward. He's not an actor.
Yeah. No.
But he's drawing attention for sure. What little noise there was around you, I mean, the sort of noise of the wildlife had died down considerably, but now that eerie silence hits you again.
Please tell me they've just been watching this whole fucking comedy of errors. What are these humans doing?
And you start to hear a little bit of movement forward in front of you, maybe 50 feet. And you see, kind of like you did before, like a little bit of a wake through the underbrush. 1, then 2, then 3, then 4 total. Just movement in the underbrush, kind of moving towards Braxton, still about 50 feet away, and not moving fast. They're not like charging in. They're cautiously kind of moving slowly. And the 4 shapes are 10 feet apart, maybe in a line, like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Jessica, do you want to spring this ambush, or do you want me to?
No, I think I'm going to spring this ambush.
Okay.
So I guess I'm just going to do like a hack and slash, right?
Well, you're not sure what the bad guys are. You know generally where they are, but how are you going to figure out like who you're attacking? Or
well, can't you like kind of see that the grass is splitting in the distance?
And you do remember that when you saw the one on top of the warg, he was tall enough that sort of his head and the tops of his shoulders was breaking through the brush. So you don't see that, but I guess you don't know whether it's an unmanned warg or whether it's a goblin sort of inching forward.
Right. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna kind of without waiting for a signal, just start heading towards that direction with my staff, and then just kind of like swinging it back and forth in between the lines of that are separating in the brush to see if I can hit anything.
Just kind of whack-a-mole style.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you like they're like I said they're 40 or so feet away from you? Are you like running forward?
Yeah.
Okay. So Tina, Jenka again headlong charges away towards the fray, swinging her staff back and forth. As you close the distance, go ahead and there's 4 of them. Are you like running towards one in the middle or on one edge?
Yeah, let's go to one in the middle.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a hack and slash.
8.
Okay.
Okay, so
So you do damage, but the enemy also makes a attack against you, a damaging attack against you. So go ahead and roll your class damage.
1.
All right. And go ahead and roll me. I got to remind myself. Go ahead and roll 1d6.
One.
All right. So as you run forward and you swipe at this one goblin, or whatever the shape is, you kind of swing and you clip just the top of whatever it is, and you hear just like a hollow kind of thunk and a from underneath. It's the voice of a goblin, and as that happens, you step on something sharp. And it kind of pokes through your boot and deals one point of damage to you. You don't know what it is, but you just heard like a little under your feet, and then stepped on something and it hurt. It poked you. Felt almost like a tack or like a nail or something. So how do you react? Are you just keeping kind of swooping back and forth at this thing, or are you adjusting your approach?
No. So I hear the sound of the groan, I guess, when I hit it,
Mm-hmm.
and I focus in that area to see, I guess, the goblin, and then just continue.
He's essentially right in. I mean, you rushed up to him, so he's essentially right in front of you. You conked him on the head, but sort of a glancing blow, and he just went like, and you hear from the other shapes through the in the grass like a and the sort of in response. Go ahead and roll another hack and slash.
Two.
Uh-oh. So remind me, is that just a miss, or does she?
No. So on a 6- on any move, the GM is going to make a move back. What I would recommend is look at the moves for the monster type.
Mm-hmm.
See if anything is really like inspiring to you right now. You'll probably do damage to her. You might also, depending on what their different moves are, you might come up with some other horrible thing. She gets caught in some sort of techno trap that they developed.
Mm-hmm.
Or if nothing immediately inspires you, have her roll a d12. Is that macro still available, where we would roll for it?
Yeah, I've got it. I have some ideas though.
Okay. Yeah.
So you whoosh kind of through the grass, and you actually, your staff kind of sweeps through almost like a sickle cutting through wheat. But you don't know if this thing maybe jumped back or if you misjudged, but you swipe in front of it and you can sort of see the outline of it now because you cut through some of the underbrush. And as you do that, you see its arm just kind of go and rear back and throw something at you. And it yells out something in a language you don't understand. It's like, On your whatever papoose, Grundy just says, "Oh shit." Jenka, go ahead and roll a d6.
Hi.
Okay. So when he reared back and threw at you, do you know what caltrops are?
Mhm.
Yeah. So he essentially threw a handful of caltrops at your face, and you can deduce that's what's on the ground. Is he scattered a bunch of sort of tacks on the ground, caltrops on the ground, but he throws them at you, and they sort of catch you in your cheeks and your face, and do 2 damage to you.
Okay.
Rather than toss them on the ground, he just reflexively chucked a handful at you and yelled something. Let's cut over to Tina at this point.
I'd like to think those caltrops are lightly barbed also, so now they're kind of stuck. Do you know the cactus called a cholla or jumping cholla?
Mm-mm.
It has very brittle, long, slender, and very sharp barbed needles, and the plant grows in like little grapefruit-sized segments. And as it matures, the connections between the segments weakens off. So if an animal brushes against it, the whole goddamn thing will get stuck to their side and carried away, and eventually it breaks off. It hurts like a son of a bitch. And I think Jenka now has like small cacti-like caltrops stuck in her face.
Yeah, but they're made out of metal.
Yeah,
These are metal workers.
I'm in the middle of advising Jenka. I'm gonna let him get to about 10 feet away, and then we're gonna fuck. God damn it! And watch her charge off. And I'm at a loss. Like, well, how do I get this under control when I hear Grundy like ominous? And I'm gonna ask him real quick. Like, is the chieftain down there? Is that the problem?
Not yet.
Fuck, we need the chieftain.
Well, he just called for backup.
Badass. I'm gonna kind of jump down, and I'm going to try my "What are you waiting for?" move, where I'm gonna kind of bellow out to everybody. You stepped right in my trap. Jenka, drive them toward me. You stand in front of Tina, your new chieftain, for the rest of your short lives. I'm gonna try out my challenge, an 8.
Okay. Okay. Only a few. The weakest or most foolhardy fall prey to your taunting. And when they fall prey to your taunting, does this mean that they're focused on you now, or does it mean that they're afraid of you? I don't recall the mechanics of the move. Or is that up for decision?
You can interpret it. Basically, what I'm trying to do this move is force them to treat me as the biggest threat. That might mean run and attack me. It might mean run away from me. But it's kind of like to tank in Warcraft.
Got it.
I'm trying to get them to not be attacking her or Braxton. So a few of the dumbest or whatever might come up and challenge me, or might run away from me. But I didn't get the entire field of combat focused on me.
Well, and Braxton is still laying with the chain sort of loosely draped over his side, going, "Oh, my guts." He's not changed his tactic. He's doing what you told him to do. Okay, so the 2 on one side and 1 on the other that she had not engaged, that Jenka hadn't engaged, started to turn towards her, and one of them keeps going towards her, but the 2 on either side veer towards you now. And you hear a strange sort of rattling noise in the distance coming towards you. Sounds like metal rattling.
I'm going to grin, kind of look that way for just a moment and smile. But I need to mop this problem up first. So I kind of step forward over Braxton and tell him, get up, fool, grab your axe. It's cutting time. And then just engage the 2 moving toward me with my 2-handed sword.
Okay.
Try and do a real low cut. Get them right across their chests if I can.
Okay. Go ahead and do a hack and slash.
11.
Cool. And you're
I'm
swinging
going to choose. Two-handed. Oh yeah. Let me. I think if I go to that sheet, I can do the damage. But I'm going to choose to do an extra D6 and expose myself to the enemy's attack.
Okay.
I think. Let me just double check how I do this. Yeah, D10 plus 1 added in there. So because my sword gets a +1 for its size, so I do 8 points of damage, and then I'm going to do another D6. Oh, 14 points of damage spread across these two goblins. I don't know if that's enough to.
Okay. And you expose yourself to damage as well, right?
Yeah. So maybe I wade into their caltrops or their attacks or whatever you decide.
Okay. Well, you do cleave both of them in half. One of them was running forward with a spear kind of up, and you cut clean through the spear and through him, and like half of him flies one way and the leg half flies the other way. The other one didn't have a spear in his hands, had sort of almost like a bandolier across his chest. And as you run forward and as you're swinging, you look like, and it's almost in slow-mo again. You see you're cutting through and you see that he's got like little jugs in the bandolier.
Uh-oh.
And as you cleave through them, go ahead and roll 1d6.
Now, and when you're attacking multiple people also, you do the damage die +1 for every additional attacker. So if you decide that there's 2 attackers, I'd roll 1d6 +1.
Okay.
If I kill the first guy early enough and it's just this one guy,
yeah. With you, I mean, these guys have 3 hit points apiece. So with you spreading 14 across 2 of them, yeah. they're not both going to do damage to you.
So I rolled a 2 on the d6.
Okay. Just as luck would have it, as you're kind of slicing across, your sword catches a piece of metal on these buckles and these things across his chest, and it kicks up a spark, and there's just an explosion, just a boom.
Nice.
And it doesn't knock you off your feet, but it throws you back a little bit, and you do take sort of like concussion damage, basically. No shrapnel or anything, but it just kind of pushes you back and knocks you back a little bit, and you, with your armor, you take 1 point of damage.
And I would argue that my armor probably doesn't protect against that sort of thing.
That's
the way
a good
it would
point.
Against the sword blow, so I'm going to take 2 if that's all right with you all.
Sure.
Full.
And let me put you guys on hold for 1 second, just because Cassie texted me that she's on her way home, and I'm going to throw pizza in for her. So it'll take me we can either break now, and it's kind of a weird place to break.
No, let's go back at 10:30. Is that 7 minutes? Yep, is that enough?
That's plenty of time.
All
cool.
right.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Cora, where is everybody? Cora, where's Daddy? Where's Daddy, Cora? Where's Daddy?
Hello. Yeah.
I don't have to portion bottles.
No, when I just stepped away. Oh shit. I got myself a nice deal out of there.
Okay.
Just so you don't look at the total and think that's it.
Good?
And then Jesse did help.
Mm-hmm.
Did they both stay till the end?
No,
Nice enough.
I probably should have stayed and at least just gotten myself organized and gone over the prep list again and the grocery list again. That would have been responsible.
Plenty of work into that.
Nowhere for tomorrow.
Numbers in. Separated out on this upstairs and it's on the stairs. We load a darks in the ride, we load a darks in the washer.
Yeah.
Here it's switched around.
I'm gonna go down there and get chef's jacket and bandanas. Make sure bottom is not 123.
That'll be tougher at parties. It's not hard to get to. Let's see.
Really, what am I here?
Ouch. That was my foot.
Andrew's on his way.
Darn it. Ugh.
No, I'm not.
All right. Okay. And everybody's yawning.
I'm old.
Not yet. Next week. And you're old. This is how old I am. I have a boppy that's in front of me that I'm just like resting my arms on. You're not to the boppy stage yet.
No, not yet.
Okay. So you heroically chopped 2 goblins in half, but one of them was wearing a bandolier of some sort of explosive liquid that blew up in your face. Pushed you back. Jenka is still squared up with one, and there's another one angling back towards her, and then you hear a rattling noise in the distance. Sounds like the shopping cart that nobody wants to use. And you also hear more shouting in an unfamiliar language coming from that same direction. It's like kind of guttural, like rah, rah. At least 3 or 4 more voices.
Oh shit! I took a blast to the chest, and I had Grundy kind of hanging on my shoulders. Is he okay?
He's okay. He's a little singed, but he's okay. He's muttering. He's upset. He uses the language of sailors. I think that's pretty true to this character when you think. I mean, it's a children's book, but in this adult version, he's a foul-mouthed jerk. So let's stay with Tina for one more moment. You've done this sort of heroic move. Braxton was the only one there to see it, but and Grundy, I suppose. Braxton's brow is kind of furrowed as he sort of like trots past you, like he's not sure exactly what he just saw. What's your next move before we pan back to Jenka?
I'm gonna look down to him and kind of see that he's trying to figure out whether he should be impressed, like whether that was a thing or an accident.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell him my people call that 2 birds with 1 sword. And I'm gonna look to where the other guy is curling in on Jenka. You know how the 2 of them came at me and one was going to her?
Yep.
I'm going to take my 2-handed sword and just kind of haul it back and just hurl it at that guy and try and like catch him before he gets there.
Okay. So that'd be a volley, right?
Yeah. And I would point out that I don't have a weapon that has ammo when I do this. And so on a 7 to 9, you could risk losing ammo that wouldn't apply to me. So that's not a choice for.
Right.
So I will hurl my big ass sword.
But likewise, once you hurl your sword is like you can't swing your sword now. You got to go get
until I recover. Yeah.
Right. If you were shooting a ranged weapon and you lost ammo, you would just be down 1 ammo.
Yeah. Oh shit! And I clicked. So I rolled a 7. I was thinking in my head of doing the Herculean appetites though.
Yeah.
To roll the 6 and 8, but I already rolled. So
no, I mean, if you just misclicked, then do what you're gonna do.
Okay. Yeah. So I would roll Herculean appetites. It doesn't have a macro for it. All right. Anyway, my dex is a +0, so I'm gonna roll a d6 and a d8. +0, 1d6 plus d8. So it's a 9, and the 8 is higher than a 6. So it only triggers a real problem if the 6 would be the higher die. So in this case, it doesn't. So I basically got a volley with a roll of 9.
Okay.
Which is the same effect as above.
Okay.
And I don't want to reduce my damage. I want to. I need to move to get the shot placing me in danger of the GM's choice.
Okay.
So let me roll my damage real quick on throwing a sword at somebody with all my might. Oh, fuck. 2. It is messy and forceful still, even though it's only 2 damage. So it probably makes a mess.
Yep. So your sword, I mean, it's like a Conan kind of move where you throw it two-handed. It's just, and you can't even really see the body of this goblin. You just see kind of the movement, but the point of the sword just swipes through where it is, and you hear a kind of a squeak and a skid, and you see a spray of blood against a tree as your sword kind of embeds into the tree. You did have to circle kind of flank in order to do that. And as you're running to flank, you feel something catch your ankle, and you hear a familiar noise of bzzz.
Oh no.
Go ahead and roll a Defy Danger Dex.
I wouldn't tell me how to respond to it. Like Defy Danger Dex implies. So I hear the whirring noise and a hand comes up to stab at me. I think I would reflexively kick at it, which might be a hack and slash without a weapon, just my foot.
Well, nothing reached up to swipe at you. You felt yourself kick a tripwire.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying somebody stabbed me.
No. And you hear that familiar noise of something above you whirring.
Is Braxton near me?
Sure.
I'm going to...
You told him to follow in your footsteps, so yeah, he's right by you.
Yeah, so instead of dodging out of the way of it, I'm going to try and stand in defense of Braxton, which will likely get me fucked up. I'm going to roll plus defend. And the way I'm picturing this working mechanically is like I'm going to put myself, kind of like use a sword as a shield before. I'm going to put myself in front of Braxton. If I get enough hold, I can redirect the attack from him to me. And if I get a 10 plus, I get half the effect or damage. It's like I might actually survive it better, but that's my goal in this case is like, fuck, I've just led Braxton into this goddamn trap. Let me man up here. I say pejoratively. So hold 3, yeah. So, yeah, as it comes down, I'm going to redirect the attack from Braxton to me.
Okay.
I'm going to have the attack's effect or damage, and then I'll hold my 1 more hold.
Okay. Well, the damage is going to be 1d10.
So I'll roll a d10 and then have it.
And then your armor would come into effect here, too. Oh, nice.
Ooh, nice.
So you take no damage.
Brush it off.
Yeah.
It probably like cuts me real bad. It's just not going to be hit point damage, but like,
right.
That hurts. It's okay, Braxton. Oh, fuck. Ow. We're good. Oh, we're good. Oh, I'm getting old.
Okay. Let's pan back to Jenka. You see the sword fly past you. And you see the blood spray, and you hear something hit the ground and skid up towards your feet. But there's still movement there. It's not dead. It just kind of was hit and dug a trench into the ground as it skidded towards you.
Okay. Sorry. I think I'm going to go ahead and try to use magic missile and attack that creature, just to finish it off.
Go for it.
So that would be cast a spell, which is a 5.
All right. So let me look at something really quickly. Sorry. Okay, so when you use magic and you roll a failure, does that mean you lose your spell?
You make a hard move. You can definitely take the spell away from her if you want. I generally would take the spell. You can do other stuff in addition to that as well. Another thing could happen, like the magic missile goes off, but it hits the wrong target. It goes veering after the guy, but do some fluke, it rebounds and hits her right back. Like you just make it a miss on the spell doesn't mean she missed the target. It means she didn't get the consequences, the effect that she wanted.
Got it. Okay. Okay. So he's almost so close to you that, I mean, this is more of a ranged kind of attack, and he's so close to you that it's just you misjudge, and it's like a bottle rocket where it kind of like flips off in a weird direction,
Mhm.
and you can feel that you've lost the spell. Like magic missile's gone until you take a rest, but it kind of hugs the ground and burns a trench through the tall grass, and then veers up and off to the left. And about 50 feet down, you can hear it like explode into a tree, and you hear the echo of shouts from 500, 400 feet that way in the direction of the other camp.
Oh no. Well, that went further than I expected.
And that is a beautiful use of a miss. That's good.
Okay, so now you have two of them essentially engaging with you. The one who skidded to your feet, who's now kind of working his way up to his feet, and the one who threw caltrops at you. And you also hear the rattling coming towards you. It's close. You now see sort of cutting through. What? Suffice it to say, Cassie's never going to play Dungeon World with us because she's giving me funny looks.
No, I'm giving you funny looks because I want to watch TV.
Ah, she wants to watch TV.
I'm going to need to call it here in about 15 minutes anyway. You want to kind of maybe wrap this scene before the big boss gets here, and then we'll pick it up here later?
Yep, that's fine. We're about 15 minutes from me and you see something about head high cutting through the brush in front of you and approaching. You can't really tell what it is, but you see just movement of something coming towards you. So, Jenka, what do you do?
Okay, I think I'm gonna, continue doing hack and slash with my staff.
Okay. Are you going to kind of swipe at both of them? Or are you going for the caltrop one, or for the other one?
It's gonna go towards both of them, but I think initially it's gonna be towards the caltrop one before I do the last one.
Cool. Oh no! You're getting lots of XP.
Yeah, mark XP as you fail.
That's 3 in a row. No, it's not. It's 2 in a row, right? Go ahead and roll 1d6.
Oh crap.
At least you still roll low on those.
There's just like a quick flash of movement, and you feel a cut across your calf that feels like a knife or something, as he just kind of like ran past you and slashed and cut you on your ankle. You feel it kind of slice through your boot.
That fucker, he keeps getting at my shoes.
That's my unseen servant boot, asshole.
That's it. Now I'm angry.
It's for Builder Square shoes.
Yeah.
How do you respond to these pests that are Gullivering you to death?
Hold on.
What other spell do you have prepared?
Nothing.
You start off with 2 per day. You lost Magic Missile. What was the other one you had? Or did you lose it maybe in the last session?
I think it was Alarm, wasn't it?
I think you're right.
Oh, okay. So it wouldn't really apply right now.
All I really can do is just continue doing hack and slash. I don't have any spells that I can work with right now.
There could be options of like leading them back toward me or Braxton, trying to set up a trap. I mean, hack and slashing is well and good, but
you try and grab one of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think in D&D, you really get into these cycles of like, I roll to attack. I'm just rolling that D20 every round trying to hit because that's kind of what we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
But Jenka might have some cool stylistic things she'd do that's different, or through the use of a cantrip or something there might be.
Yeah. Yeah. What cantrips do you have? I didn't even think about that.
Just Unseen Servant, Light.
Do you have any cool equipment?
No. Just spell book and bag of books.
Maybe hack and slash is the way to go.
All right. Yeah, I'll just do one more time hack and slash and hope for the best.
Okay. Is it at the same one? The one who kind of ran around your side?
No, I think it's going to be the one that got attacked or hit by the sword.
Okay. Go for it. Okay. So go ahead and roll your class damage. Cool. And roll a d6. Ooh, okay. You go to swing.
Is Jenka going to die?
No, I'm going to take a potion right now.
So you go to swing, and as you swing, you feel something sort of wrap around your leg, feels like a rope or a lasso or something. But again, it feels barbed, and it bites into your leg, and it wraps from the ankle all the way up to your knee tight. And as you feel that, you swing almost like a golf club, and you just thwack. You hit solidly, and whatever you hit just drops.
Okay. So the barbed rope that's around my ankles, was that with the?
It's not restraining you, but it like wraps around one leg and kind of just. It's like if somebody whipped a whip or a rope at you, and it just kind of went around your leg.
Right, but was that one from the goblin that just died right now, or is it from the other one?
No, from him.
Okay.
From the one that just died.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there, and I'm probably gonna run back towards Tina.
Okay.
And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna try to look in my bag for a healing potion to drink, to kind of increase my hit points because I'm close to dying.
Cool. Yeah, you find it with no problem. And you can, as you're running, you can drink it. Is there a roll on how much that heals?
No, it's just 10 flat.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you kind of down it as you're running, and you regain 10 hit points, and you have a longer stride than whatever is around the goblin that's around your legs. So you sort of gain distance away from him as you run towards Tina. You can kind of hear the clatter of him throwing more caltrops, but they're not. He's not close enough to you to catch with them.
Okay.
So you have that one goblin still kind of harrying you guys. You have noise in the distance from the camp that was alerted, and then you have whatever this noise is approaching from the direction of the chief's camp. You could go somewhere to regroup if you wanted. You could try to dispatch this one last goblin, and we could call it a break before things.
Let's kill
increase.
this one, and then kind of pick up next game with the noise making it unseen.
Sure.
The shopping cart nobody wants.
Right. All right. Then I'll go ahead and I'll just once I get my my health back, I'll go ahead and I'll stop in mid track, turn back towards the goblin,
Mm-hmm.
and then just strike it again as hard as I can with my staff.
Cool. Go for it.
I'm gonna try and aid her. As I see her, I'm like, thank God she's regained her senses, and then she turns around to hit again, like, God damn it. And I kind of throw a dagger at the goblin to try and like distract it.
Okay.
My idea, I'm not actually worried about the volley to hit it or anything, but just like if I can distract it, like open it up to where she can get her hit to land.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna roll aid or interfere. We have 2 bonds, so I'm rolling a strength 7. So she gets a 7 on her attack, and I also expose myself to danger with retribution or cost.
Okay. So yeah, you throw your dagger, and it almost herds the goblin into the swing of her staff. But she does a like almost like a flourish as she swings and kind of goes low to hit it, and it throws and it goes over her head and towards you. So go ahead and roll d6 for damage because these caltrops are headed towards you.
Okay. I'm grinning real big as this thing sticks in my forehead.
And it like hits your forehead and sticks for a second. And you know those wacky wall crawlers, those things that you throw at the wall and they kind of it hits your forehead and then kind of just like rolls down. And it doesn't do any damage, but it like leaves little pinpricks down your face as it goes. And Jinka, go ahead and roll your damage. Yeah, you go low, you swipe, you feel that you make solid impact into the ribs of this thing, and it tumbles and kind of tumbles into a tree and is still. It's just like a moment to breathe before more close in on you and whatever this noise is.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and like reach down and like with the, I guess with one of the knives, just cut off the barbed wire that's around my ankle.
Mm-hmm.
Just so I don't have to deal with that right now.
Sure. Yeah, it takes you a moment because it is metal, but it's not thick or heavy. You're able to pretty easily cut it off. You both look to the noise that you're hearing coming from in front of you and see the rattling. You don't see exactly what it is, but you see the face of a goblin riding on something coming towards you. He's got thick, almost like they're goggles, but they're almost like welding mask goggles. It kind of covers his whole eyes. And like just this crazy shock of hair coming up, and a gnarly kind of jagged grin on his face as he just comes flying towards you. Not flying off the air, but just, rushing towards you on whatever it is that he's on. And we'll stop there for tonight.
Nice. I think we maybe even end on Tina's face with a great big smile. She reaches forward to grab her sword.
Cool.
Or maybe it gets here before I get my sword, and that's interesting too.
No, I think it makes sense that you would have gone to retrieve it. So end of session.
End of session.
Do we learn something new and important about the world?
I think it was my impression. Maybe it was my poor attention. I thought the goblins. I thought Grundy had kind of taught them a few tricks, but now we're learning these are actually a really smart group of goblins. That might change how much of a threat they pose in the area, or maybe they're even a useful ally to the humans.
Okay. Did you overcome a notable monster or enemy?
No.
I think those traps. I think we did a good job with the traps.
I think it was clever the way you approached them, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Did you loot a memorable treasure?
No, but we're gonna. I want some of those little bombs.
Plus, we need to still collect heads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think those bombs, those caltrops, this is gonna really once we get to loot these people, it's gonna change how we play, Jessica.
It is. Gonna be looting advanced goblin technology.
Oh yeah. AGT.
All right. So I guess you mark 3 XP, and then we have to look at your bonds also.
I think 2 because we didn't get the loot yet.
Oh, that's right.
So I'm up to 17 XP before going bonds.
I have to count all of the misrolls that I had, so I'll get together with Andrew on that.
Okay.
But right now I'm at 9.
Okay.
The missed roll that I aided or interfered on to bring you up to a hit doesn't count. So I think you're just at 2.
Okay.
And then do you guys want to resolve any of your bonds?
So my bonds are Tina and I have a con running, and Tina owes me their life whether they admit it or not. I don't think any of those bonds are resolved with me just yet.
Okay.
One of my bonds with Jenka, Jenka Vales is squishy but brave. She needs training, but she shows promise. I think I would like to resolve that and change it. Jenka Vales is a freaking menace. She'll die in a moment if I don't keep my eye on her.
I think that's fair.
Is that fair with you, Jessica?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we killed some goblins. And maybe brought a whole lot more down on yourself. We'll see what happens next week.
You had some really good responses. I think having that magic missile go and alert the other camp. We already have a big bad showing up, and now there's gonna be more. That was a really good danger ratcheting move.
Cool. I'm trying to pick it up. I think.
Oh, you're doing good.
Cool.
I think the only kind of mechanical thing I'd say for tonight, and I think you probably already figured that out, but at one point when you called for the Dex, Defy Danger Dex, that treats it very much like a saving throw from D&D, and that's just an old habit that we need to move away from. I still do the same thing when I run Dungeon World, and I have to catch myself. But you always just explain the danger. That's a soft move, incoming threat, what are you going to do? Instead of presuming the reaction.
Got it.
But otherwise, I thought mechanically you're handling it really well.
Cool.
You had me cracking up sometimes with how Braxton was, reacting to the different stuff, and I like that. Depending on how we survive this battle, and if I get to spend, I have enough XP to level twice now. One of my moves will probably be something around affecting hirelings to keep Braxton or other people to give you a chance to keep kind of putting those little NPCs that won't necessarily change the game, but give you a chance to put some weirdos in there for us.
Yeah, and I think that I could, or I don't know if it's on me to do it or if it's on you guys to do it, but I think he could be more integrated into the rounds to do stuff. But I don't know if it's for me to say, okay, he goes and attacks this now, or if it's for you guys to say, we should have him go do this.
I can't remember if we did anything for Braxton, but if you look up the hireling rules, you can choose to give them like 2 points of warrior, 1 point of scout. If we actually create them like that, what we can do is like when I'm doing a hack and slash, like he's with me and he has warrior, he's gonna add like 2 points of damage as long as I'm coordinating attack with him. He just works like a +2 damage for me, or depending on what rolls we give him, he can do some stuff like that where we call upon him to be with us doing a thing that makes sense.
Got it.
But then also we asked him to do something like crazy that he didn't necessarily like. I didn't think of it at the time, but under the special moves, there's one for, it might not be a special move, but it's getting a hireling. Hirelings will do what you tell them so long as it isn't obviously dangerous, degrading, or stupid, and their cost is met. When a hireling finds himself in a dangerous, degrading, or just flat out crazy situation due to your orders, roll plus loyalty. We totally could have gotten a loyalty roll as we're using him as bait to lure out goblins and stuff. So if he was smart enough to do it,
Yeah, he's not so bright. He has virtues, but he's not so bright.
I like him.
And he's not a good actor.
That's one of his virtues is not stagecraft.
Very good. Cool. All right. Well, I should get going.